May 25, 2018, 1:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. May 25, 2018, 1:52 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Everything to know about the Vegas Golden Knights and Washington Capitals before they meet in the 2018 Stanley Cup Final. Watch NHL with Fubo TV. The 2018 Stanley Cup finalists are set, and it's not at all who most people predicted. The Capitals, a poster child for playoff heartbreak in their 43 years of existence, meet the Golden Knights, an expansion team seeking to complete the most improbable championship run in the history of North American professional sport. The series begins Monday, May 28, in Las Vegas, and could extend all the way to June 13, when a Game 7 would become the cherry on top of what's been one of the most unpredictable Stanley Cup playoffs in recent memory. This time last year, the fledgling Golden Knights had yet to select their roster. The wildest of imaginations couldn't have anticipated they would be playing for a championship less than 12 months later. Even the hometown sportsbooks weren't enthusiastic, offering opening odds ranging from 150 to 1 to 500 to 1 for Vegas to win the Stanley Cup in its first year, a feat never accomplished in the NHL, let alone sports history. Golden Standard: how Vegas became the most successful expansion team in sports history. Led by Marc-Andre Fleury and his band of Golden Misfits, the Knights passed the preseason over-under of 26.5 wins by Jan. 2, toppled their projected season point total of 68.5 on Jan. 30 and won the Pacific Division on the way to setting every NHL expansion team record in the book. As an encore, they sliced through the Western Conference playoff field, losing only 3 games out of 15 to reach the Stanley Cup Final. In completing the feat, they'd join the likes of 2016 Premier League champion Leicester City and the 1980 Miracle on Ice U.S. Olympic hockey team as the biggest long-shot champions ever. The Capitals faced tall odds of their own, though the difference between these two franchises couldn't be more stark. Cursed by decades of playoff disappointments, this year's Capitals are a shell of the President's Trophy-winning juggernauts that perennially fell short in the Alex Ovechkin era. After losing the first 2 games to the Blue Jackets in the opening round, it seemed they were headed for a similar fate. More, Golden Knights among biggest betting long shots in sports history. Washington has gone 12-5 since vanquishing the rival Penguins, a frequent foil in recent years, and their Game 7 demons to advance to the franchise's first conference finals and Stanley Cup final since 1998, when it was swept by Detroit. Ovechkin, now 32, followed up an age-defying rebound season in which he led the NHL with 49 goals to author his greatest performance yet in pursuit of his elusive first cup, joining running mates Evgeny Kuznetsov and Braden Holtby as Conn Smythe frontrunners. Therein lies the great irony of this matchup. On one side, an opportunity to vindicate all previous shortcomings by delivering DC its first major professional sports championship since 1991. On the other, a franchise that knows only success, attempting to finish off a dream first season in the Sin City, of all places. Sporting News NHL experts Brandon Schlager, Evan Sporer and Jim Cerny make their series predictions below. More, watch the Stanley Cup Final on Fubo TV, 7-day free trial. Golden Knights, -139, vs. Capitals, 126. Schedule, picks, predictions. Game 1, May 28 at Vegas, 8 p.m. NBC, CBC, Sportsnet, Fubo TV. Game 2, May 30th at Vegas, 8 p.m. NBC, CBC, Sportsnet, Fubo TV. Game 3, June 2nd at Washington, 8 p.m. NBC, CBC, Sportsnet, Fubo TV. Game 4, June 4th at Washington, 8 p.m. NBC, CBC, Sportsnet, Fubo TV, *, Game 5, June 7th at Vegas, 8 p.m. NBC, CBC, Sportsnet, Fubo TV, * Game 6, June 10 at Washington, 8 p.m. NBC, CBC, Sportsnet, Fubo TV, * Game 7, June 13 at Vegas, 8 p.m. NBC, CBC, Sportsner, Fubo TV, all times Eastern, * if necessary, regular season meetings, VGK, 3-0, 12/23, VGK, 4-3, 2/4, more. Lazy Alex Ovechkin narratives can be laid to rest. Finally, tail of the tape defense. The Capitals are second in goals per game, 3.47, these playoffs. It's carried them this far, with postseason scoring leader Yevgeny Kuznetsov, 11 goals, 24 points, providing Ovechkin, 12 goals, 22 points, with a kind of offensive support he never received in past runs. Nicholas Backstrom, who's missed 4 games to injury, is also contributing at a point-per-game pace, 1.07, and is beginning to look more like himself. That said, the Golden Knights counter with what's been the best line in the playoffs with Jonathan Marchessault, Riley Smith and William Karlsson. Vegas' top 6 forwards have accounted for 29 of 41 playoff goals. Advantage: split defense. Vegas and Washington rank second and third in goals against during the playoffs. A lot of that has had to do with stellar goaltending, more on that below, but the Capitals have been better at suppressing shot attempts, 28.2 on goal per game. Michal Kempny, acquired from the Blackhawks at the trade deadline, has been an underrated addition on the top pairing with John Carlson. Vegas staggers its top 3 of Nate Schmidt, Shea Theodore and Colin Miller across its top 3 pairs, all of whom excel at moving the puck up the ice. Advantage: split more. Marc-Andre Fleury enjoys playoff reputation revival for Vegas goaltending. See Exhibit A. Good morning. Marc-Andre Fleury has prevented approximately 18 goals more than an average goalie would have in his spot. That's about 14 goals better than Braden Holtby, who is third best in the playoffs. Pick.twitter.com/UNLUFX, Sean Tierney, at Charting Hockey, May 25, 2018. Advantage: Golden Knights special teams, at 28.2%. The Capitals own the second best power play of the playoffs and lead all teams with 17 goals on the man advantage. That may not matter against the Golden Knights, who have killed 82.5% of opposing power plays. The Caps lag far behind on the kill, 75.4, and got into a ton of penalty trouble against the Lightning, but we'll allow a benefit of the doubt since they just overcame Tampa and Pittsburgh, the NHL's 2 most potent units. Vegas, meanwhile, has struggled to generate much offense on power plays of their own, 17.6%. That's going to have to change. Advantage: Capitals coaching. Not to discredit what Barry Trotz has accomplished, keeping the Capitals focused and loose despite tense outside pressure to avoid yet another choke job. Trotz was coaching for his job this postseason, and his move to Braden Holtby in the first round probably saved it. But Gerard Gallant continues to amaze with one of the most masterful coaching jobs in the history of the NHL. Teams have yet to solve the enigma he's created in the Golden Knights. Advantage: Golden Knights more. Conn Smythe Power Ranking Staff Predictions. Brandon Schlager, 9-4. More often than we care to admit, this goofy game we call hockey is unexplainable. An expansion team winning the Stanley Cup? Why not? The Capitals' run is to be admired. Ovechkin and co. have answered all the outside questions, silencing their critics. To see, no. 8. Hoist the cup above his head, cementing a Hall of Fame legacy, would make for a great story and I wouldn't complain one bit. But there's a magic about these Golden Knights I'm not sure any team can compete against right now. I thought the Jets would lead to their undoing, but Vegas made the NHL's second-best team look like a number 8 seed in a quick 5-game knockout. Some members of the Knights openly wondered if Winnipeg had used up all its power on dispatching Nashville in a 7-game slugfest a series before. The Capitals are a formidable opponent, to be clear, but they're coming off a Game 7 of their own, blowing the 2-0 lead and then expending a ton of energy to avoid another collapse. And a goalie as hot as Fleury, even if he meets some regression, isn't something to bet against. This will be a great, closely contested series. The hockey world has discounted the Knights' run for months. Now that they're 4 wins from arriving at the NHL's pinnacle in their first season, I'm done doubting this group. Golden Knights in 6-7 Spur, 7-6, Ovechkin and the Capitals finally reaching the Stanley Cup Final only to come against an expansion team from Las Vegas is like the weird plot to a fanfiction movie I would have expected like 3 years ago. And even beyond that, there are some interesting subplots and storylines to one of the more bizarre Cup Final matchups in recent memory, the Capitals trying to get over that last hurdle by defeating former general manager George McPhee, who was the architect of so many great Capitals teams that fell just short, the Capitals needing to finally get past Fleury to clear that final hurdle, and, oh yeah, an expansion team attempting to win a major championship in its inaugural season. As far as the hockey is concerned, I'm 0 for 3 picking against Vegas in the playoffs. Interestingly enough, I think the Golden Knights actually match up better against the Capitals than they did the Jets, whom they dispatched in a quick 5 games. Mostly that comes down to depth. The Golden Knights have a good top 6 forward group and a great top line. The Capitals, likewise, really don't go much deeper than their top 6 but also have a much thinner blue line than Tampa Bay. That being said, there is still this ominous cloud, to me, hanging over Vegas, a bubble that I've kind of been waiting to pop for the past 5 weeks. And that's not related to the unexpected success a first-year franchise is remarkably having, but more so Fleury's .947 save percentage in these playoffs, which would shatter an NHL record, and the collective 12.72% Vegas top 6 forwards have shot through the first 3 rounds. Fleury's run has been remarkable, take nothing away from that. It's just becoming more and more difficult to think he can sustain this level of play for another round, perhaps not unlike what we've seen out of Pekka Rinne in Nashville the past 2 postseasons. Vegas has won 12 games in this playoff run, 7 of them by a single goal, another 2 by 2 goals thanks to an empty net tally. Fleury has saved 17 goals above a replacement-level player, the kind of performance that seems slightly significant given all those one-goal victories. That's in part why I'm picking the Capitals. Everything I think I know about hockey tells me that even if Vegas continues to play well, they're majorly due to regress. On the other side, it really seems like Backstrom is getting his timing back after missing 4 games with that hand injury. He's clearly not at 100% physically, but that didn't stop him from dishing out one of the best assists of the entire postseason in a must-win Game 6 against the Lightning. Heidelby's resurgence came at the perfect time for Washington, and there really isn't a whole lot else to be said about Ovechkin. He'll likely go down as the greatest goal scorer in NHL history, and he's showed during these playoffs how he can take over a game in a number of different areas. Capitals in 6 Jim Cerny, 8-5, TBD.